Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktisiddhanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Even if one is a householder rather than a brahmachari, a sannyasi or a brahmaprastha, one should not endeavor very hard for religiousity, economic development, or sensification of the senses. Even in household life, one should satisfy to maintain the body and soul together with whatever is available with minimum endeavor, according to place and time. By the grace of the Lord, one should not engage oneself in ugra karma. Purport. In human life, there are 4 principles to be fulfilled: Dharma, Artha, Karma, and Moksha, religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. First, one should be religious, observing religious rules and regulations, and then one must earn some money for maintenance of his family and satisfaction of his senses. The most important ceremony for sense gratification is marriage, because sexual intercourse is one of the principal necessities of the material body. Yam matyetyam manyutnadi gramahidi sukam hi chuchusaham. Although sexual intercourse is not a very exalted requisite in life, both animals and men require some sense gratification because of material propensities. One should be satisfied with married life and not spend energy for extra sense gratification or sex life. As for economic development, the responsibility for this should be entrusted mainly to the Vaishyas and Grihasthas. Human society should be divided into Varnas and Ashrams: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Economic development is necessary for Grihasthas. Brahmana Grihasthas should be satisfied with a life of Adhyayana, Rayana, Yagya, and Yagya, being learned scholars, teaching others to be scholars, learning how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and also teaching others how to worship Lord Vishnu, or even the demigods. A Brahmana should do this without remuneration, but is allowed to accept charity from a person whom he teaches how to become a human being. As for the Kshatriyas, they are supposed to be the kings of the land, and the land should be distributed to the Vaishyas for agricultural activities, cow protection, and trade. Sudras must work. Sometimes they should engage in occupational duties as cloth manufacturers, weavers, blacksmiths, goldsmiths, brass-smiths, and so on, or else they should engage in hard labor to produce food grains. These are the different occupational duties by which men should earn their livelihood. In this way, human society should be simple. At the present moment, however, everyone is engaged in technologically advancement, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita as ugra karma, extremely severe endeavor. This ugra karma is the cause of agitation within the human mind. Men are engaging in many simple activities and being degraded by opening slaughterhouses, breweries, and cigarette factories, as well as nightclubs and other establishments for sense enjoyment. In this way, they are spoiling their lives. In all these activities, of course, householders are involved, and therefore it is advised here, with the use of the word api, that even though one is a householder, one should not engage himself in severe hardships. One's means of livelihood should be extremely simple. As for those who are not grihastas, the brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, they don't to do anything but strive for advancement in spiritual life. This means that 3/4 of the entire population should stop sense gratification and should simply engage in advancement in Krishna consciousness. Only 1/4 of the population should be grihasta, and that should be according to the laws of restricted sense gratification. The grihastas, vanaprasthas, brahmacharis and sannyasis should endeavor together with their total energy to become Krishna conscious. This type of civilization is called Daivi Varnashram. One of the objects of Krishna conscious movement is to establish this Daivi Varnashram and not to encourage so-called Varnashram without scientifically organized endeavor by human society. So, now the first point Srila Prabhupada mentions is the 4 principles of human life: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Now, these are actually, say, material because they're only temporary. Because when we leave our body, all these 4 principles will disappear, will go away. But this is there that they are called the four Purushottamas, Purushottama. But there's the 5th one, which at the end of the purport, Prabhupada said we should try to endeavor for. And the 5th Purushottama is Krishna Prem, and this is because it's spiritual. This is what the goal of life, of the human form of life, should be. Now, this, of course, the householder, they have to maintain this. It's quite clearly mentioned here in the purport, so I can't really make any comment because I'm not qualified to make any, let's say, anything against the householders who are devotees, because I don't want to make any aparadhas, because there are many devotees in the Grihastha ashrama that are very, very sincere and actually are on the way to becoming pure devotees. So I don't want to make any. So everything is in this purport. It's very clear that Prabhupada, he writes. It's very clear sometimes. So there's no need, in one sense, to discuss these things. But now in English language, we say something, but then we use this small word that changes the context, this word but. So then, as I said earlier, that these four principles are actually, they're totally insignificant according to Krishna Prema. So in the Adalila 784 it says, Krishna Vasakya Premi Param Purushaha Yara Yagi Tarani Trula Chari Purushaha. Velocity, economic development, sense gratification and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and the highest goal, these appear as insignificant straw in the street. And then in Anjalila 20:37, now this is the words of Lord Chaitanya himself, written down by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Prema dan vina varyadha diridriya jivana dasa kari vetrena mora deha prema dan. Translation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that's in brackets, without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. So even though householders, they have to work and they have to live outside, they have to maintain the family, but as it says, it should not be, should be simple and not much with not much over endeavour. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say, simplicity is Vaishnavism. To be a Vaishnava, one must live a simple life. So to tell this, so there's a nice little story that happened in Orissa about 100 years ago. This is a true story. So one time there was a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law going to a Bhagavatam Sapta in the next village where they were living. So then they went. So on the way, they had to cross a river to go to the village to hear the Bhagavatam. So they crossed the river. They heard the Bhagavatam from the speaker, and the speaker, he spoke on, I forget the Sanskrit, but he said, just chant the name of Hari, 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 and you will cross the ocean of material existence. So the daughter-in-law, with a simple heart, she accepted what the speaker said. Now the mother-in-law didn't accept it. I'll explain later. And so the session finished. So on the way back to the village where they were living, they had to cross that same river. Now this river was a tidal river. So when they were going toward the program, the water was only knee deep. So on the way back, because the tide had come in, the water was up to here, just below the nostrils, the mouth, sorry. And so the young lady, the daughter-in-law, she remembered the words of the the speaker, and she said, Hari, as she was crossing, she said, Hari, Hari, Hari. And she crossed that water very easily. But the mother-in-law, because she had doubt, her heart was crooked, she doubted the word of the speaker and the Bhagavatam. And as she was crossing, she was in the process of drowning. And she shouted to her daughter-in-law, save me, save me. And the daughter-in-law replied back, said, just chant the name of Hari, 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 and you'll cross the ocean of material existence. What is this little river compared to the ocean of material existence? And the mother-in-law, she said, how dare you chastise me? I'm your mother-in-law, I'm your superior. So eventually the daughter-in-law went back in and saved the mother-in-law from drowning. But the point is that we hear the Bhagavatam with simplicity, not with any duplicity in our heart, then we will actually make advancement towards the goal of life, to the fifth Purushottama, the goal of the Krishna Prem. So this is the point of actually not just the Grasta ashram, but every ashram. It's just the simplicity should be there. Now, so how do we get Prema Bhakti? How do we get it? First of all, we have to take shelter of somebody who's got it. So, for example, if I ask Sutapa Prabhu, give me £5, and in his pocket he's only got £2, so how can he give me £5? So he cannot give me £5. So you go to a person who can give you £5. So similarly, one who wants to develop this Krishna Prem, one has to take shelter of somebody who's got it. It's like, for instance, another example is that if I want a pair of shoes, I go to Watford High Street, go to some good shoe shop and buy the shoes. Do I go to PC World or do I go to Boots the chemist? No, they can't supply. So you have to go to and take shelter of a person who's got it already. And then you serve that person. You surrender and you serve that person. What's the verse now? 8. Tapriti pratena parapasyasenana upasena tujita tavadashana. You take shelter and serve and surrender to that person because he has seen the truth, because he's a Tattvadarshini, he has seen the truth, and he will teach you the truth. He will show you the truth. So we have to take shelter of a person who has Prema Bhakti already. Now, there's signs. So how do we see the sign or the lakshanas of the qualities of a person who has it? It's mentioned in the Chinchan Chadramita that the 26 qualities of a pure devotee. Now, there's one the Acharyas mention that there's one primary one and the other 25 are secondary. So the primary one, I think it's 13, that a pure devotee is fully surrendered, is fully surrendered to Krishna. He has no doubt, whatever happens, he's surrendered, fully, completely surrendered to Krishna. But the question arises, are we fully, completely surrendered? Or is our surrender partial, conditional, or artificial. And then, once we take shelter of that devotee, who we can see, we examine his qualities. Right, he has this primary quality that he's fully surrendered, and the other 25 will automatically follow. And so, therefore, we have to surrender to him, because we have to surrender to a living guru. Now, this was mentioned in class the other day by Govinda, I think it's Monday. We have to take shelter of a living guru. Even though the acharyas, we can take shelter of the writings of, or lectures, or recorded lectures of the books of Rupa Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and Deva Babushan, etc., and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But we have to take shelter of a living, pure devotee, because the principle of the Parampara system is that the Prema Bhakti, or pure devotee, will explain to us what the acharyas mean. And if we don't, then our mind can concoct and deviate, and we can do our own thing. We can just do our own thing and just become, just misuse our independence and do some nonsense. It says, Rupa Goswami says this, okay, but I don't know what it means, but let's do it, and then we concoct. But if we hear from a living, pure devotee, he will give the Siddhanta, he will give the right conclusion of what Rupa Goswami has said, or Vishwanath Chakravarti has said. So we have to find and take shelter of a living, pure devotee. Otherwise, what is the point of Krishna establishing a new parampara system? Because, as we know in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the old one fell apart. So then, through you, Arjuna, I will establish a new parampara through you. First, I will speak to you the truth, and from there, the parampara system will start again. So then to establish, now it's interesting, now Prabhupada mentions here about the Varnashram system here. Now, as Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes the Varnashram system. But, as Lord Chaitanya, in his conversation with, that he actually doesn't accept the Varnashram system. He says it's actually materialistic. So therefore, he doesn't accept it. And also Prabhupada writes in his book, there's one book, it's not printed in ISKCON by the BBT. You can get it in Vrindavan. Anybody who wants to read it, it's called In Search of Life's Ultimate Goal. It's a book written by Prabhupada when he was a sannyasi and when he took sannyasa and was living at the Radha Damodar temple. And then he left there to go to preaching to the West. So therefore, there he left his manuscript in one trunk. And some years later, one of his godbrothers went to Prabhupada's room, found the trunk he opened the trunk and he found this manuscript and he kept it there. But, he kept the manuscript for himself. But then other devotees found out about this and encouraged him to get it printed. So in this book, Prabhupada writes that the Varnashram system is actually materialistic, and it also can lead to an impersonal or personal conception of Krishna. Now, of course, at the end, Prabhupada says we actually follow Daivi Varnashram. That means all the ashrams basically are working together, engaging the energy to become Krishna conscious. And so we see actually in the history of our movement that in the early days, especially in the London Yatra, all the preaching was done by householders. Especially, we know 3 groups of householders that came from Canada, and to please Prabhupada, they came to London. They suffered so much. They tolerated so many austerities, living in lofts, but eventually, as a result of their preaching, we have these places as we have now, Navansamana, and of course, later came, Soho Street Temple and other temples in the UK due to the preaching of the householders. So we shouldn't condemn the householders as much, even though everybody is born with many faults. I'm born with many faults. I'm drowning in the ocean of faults myself, so I cannot criticize anybody. But the point is that this Daivi Varnashram system means that we should, all the 4 ashrams and varnas, they should actually engage in preaching in some form or the other, to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. It's like the Vaishyas, they do cow protection, which is preaching in itself, and like that. And some may become weavers, blacksmiths, goldsmiths, and so on. But also, it says also in the purport here that even Prabhupada says anyone who is engaged in technological advancement, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita as ugrakama, extremely severe endeavor. But if it's, of course, nowadays we're living in a technical age where got laptops, and now you got notebooks, now you got this Kindle machine, this Kindle, and you have so many things like this, electronical stuff. But if it's engaged in Krishna's service, it's actually it can actually help one spread Krishna consciousness very easy by sending. You can go on to, you can watch Mangalati at in Mayapur, if one's awakened about 11 o'clock at night, if one cannot sleep, just switch on to Mayapur TV, or click onto Mayapur TV, and watch Mangalati there, and get Darshana Radha Madhava in his Chandan Now Mayapur now is the Chandan Yatra, and all you can. So these things can be engaged in Krishna's service. We don't have to, spend a ticket to go to Vrindavan or Mayapur. We just have to click onto Mayapur TV, get darshan of Mangalarti at Vrindavan, Mayapur, Ujjain, Juhu Beach, and so on, and hear classes from Mayapur, hear the seminars from Mayapur, and so to join the Gorpaning festival. And so this is not ugra karma. It's only ugra karma if it's engaged for sense gratification. And this is what, in the beginning, our Sridhar Maharaj, he actually faced difficulties when he tried to introduce technology into spreading Krishna consciousness. Some of his godbrothers said, no, you shouldn't doing this, but eventually they eventually came around and said, yes, we can use this technology in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness is a very deep ocean. It's a very deep ocean, and for those who are serious, one should dive deep into this ocean and go deeper and deeper until we come to the last limit of bhakti. The last limit of bhakti, of course, is the deepest and highest. That's the Mahabhav of Radharani, Radha Bhav, which Lord Chaitanya came to give. That was his mission. Lord Chaitanya's mission was to come and freely distribute Radharani's Mahabhav to the person, to the living entities who are conditioned, suffering in this material world. And he is freely giving. Anybody is qualified as long as they're not humble. If they're not humble and proud. There's one verse in the Chaitamrita that Lord Chaitanya, he came to give freely, but those who are proud of their material wealth, material knowledge, and birth, they will not get. In fact, Advaitacharya at Shantipur, after he fed Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Haridas Thakur was there at the time as well. Lord Chaitanya said to Advaitacharya, please give me, he said to Advaitacharya, I'll give you one boon, whatever you like. Then Advaitacharya said, I wish that you distribute your Krishna Prem, your love of Godhead, to the whole freely. But to those who are proud of their material wealth, material position, so on like this, material knowledge, please do not give. So if we really desire Krishna Prema, we have to what is it now? Somewhere here. This is it, yeah. So we have to get this Krishna Prema, we have to be greedy for Krishna. So it says in Sri Rupa Goswami's Pajavalati 4.14.1, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhabavit Mati Krityam Yabi Kuto Api Labhyate Tata Lobhyam Api Mulam Ekalam Jama Koti Sakriti Na Labhyate. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price. Intense greed to attain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So this is what the Rupa Goswami, who is the Rasa Acharya, is saying. So we do this by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and his immediate followers, disciples, the six Goswamis, and from there the group, the parampara, which now Lord Chaitanya is not just giving. Now Lord Chaitanya has come. He came to give Goloka Premadana, Harinam Sankirtan. So this was his mission. But in Krishna Lila, he could not fulfill these free greeds or free desires. He could not fulfill them. He could not. He was asking when he was in Krishna is called Lila Purushottam. Gora is Prema Purushottama. And so there, Krishna Lila includes Mathura and Dwarka and of course Vrindavan. So he could not fulfill these three desires. So therefore he appeared as Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Radharani and the complexion of Radharani. Now, the question is, why did Lord Chaitanya appear in a golden complexion? He didn't have to appear in the mood. He appeared in the mood of Radharani, but he didn't have to appear in the complexion, because Krishna, he could have stayed blackish color, but molten gold is the color of Mahabhav. So this is why he appeared in a golden complexion. And also, as Lord Chaitanya, he fulfilled his desires. He actually fulfilled his three desires as Krishna. So therefore it says in the Navadvip Mahatma, when Jiva Goswami was being taken around on Parakram by Lord Nityananda, and on the first day, I think it's the first day, they go to the house, or they go to the Jamastan, the yoga pit there. And Lord Nityananda tells Jiva Goswami that the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are higher than the pastimes of Krishna. They're higher. Now, this is because it's explained by the acharyas that the principle of the green mango and the ripe mango. So when Krishna had these three desires, that is compared to the green mango. They were not fulfilled. But as Lord Chaitanya, they were fulfilled, and he became the ripe that is compared to the ripe mango. So Lord Chaitanya, this is what he has come to give, and this is what we should endeavor to preach, the glories of Lord Chaitanya. And because without going through Lord Chaitanya, who is very merciful, and Lord Nityananda, he's even more merciful than Lord Chaitanya, and also by the mercy of Advaitacharya, because he called down Lord Chaitanya by worshipping his Damodar Shila, which you can see at Shantipur, and 108 Tulsis every day, and he was shouting at the top of his voice, "If my name is not Advaita, then I will call the Lord down. If not, my name is not Advaitacharya." So also that's another reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance, the mercy of Advaitacharya. So this is the purpose of Cross Mission, to preach Krishna consciousness through Harinam Sankirtan. Not ordinary Sankirtan, but Prema Sankirtan, which Lord Chaitanya, because it's mentioned in the Charanamrita again, the pastime of Lord Chaitanya having kirtan is at Srivasangam behind closed doors for 1 year. Now in the purport it is said that Prabhupada writes that it was closed for 1 year to stop stop the people making fun of the kirtan, the pasundis. They could not enter. It's only, Prabhupada writes, only the bona fide chanters could enter the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. Now, what is a bona fide chanter? A bona fide chanter, to enter the kirtan of Lord Chaitanya at Srivasangam, he had Krishna Prem, he had love of God. But in the same purport, Prabhupada says, but to bring people, the people to Krishna consciousness, we open our doors. We open our doors for anybody to come and chant Hare Krishna. So this is so in those days, there was, the courtyard of Srivasangam. So and there's a very good show the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, very deep. That we know that one time one brahmachari was there, very strict brahmachari, never passed semen, just drinking milk, a little bit of fruit maybe, and he desired to see and hear Lord Chaitanya's kirtan. So then he approached, Srivas Thakur, said, "Okay, you hide in this corner here. Cover yourself, you hide." So Lord Chaitanya can't notice you. So then, before Lord Chaitanya came for the evening kirtan, this very strict brahmachari came and he hid. And then Lord Chaitanya came, he tried to dance in ecstasy, but he stopped. He said, "I don't feel so much ecstasy tonight, I don't feel it. Is there someone here that shouldn't be here?" Then Srivas Thakur said, "There's no one here, no one." He said, "There's someone here that shouldn't be here," Lord Chaitanya said. He said, "Oh yeah, this brahmachari, hiding away, hiding in the cover there, behind something." He said, "Chuck him out, get him out, get him out." But then Srivas Thakur, he said, "But he's a brahmachari, hasn't passed semen, very strict, follows Akadashi, Niyajal, 64 rounds a day, just drinking milk. But that may be very good, but he has no bhakti. He has no bhakti at all. And one thing I noticed reading this pastime is that all the other associates of Lord Chaitanya in that kirtan, they were all householders. They weren't brahmacharis, they're all householders. So then this shows that, householders, they can come to that level. But to enter Lord Chaitanya's eternal pastimes, one has to come to the level of Krishna Prem, and that for that we just have to have the intense desire, the greed for it, and the super soul in the heart, Krishna in the heart. We'll see if we're sincere, if it's just from the lips and the heart is different. We may say many things from the lips, but then the heart is different. The heart is duplicit. The heart is duplicit. So, but the lips may say something, but the heart is saying something else. So we just have to have the greed for it, and get the mercy of that pure Vaishnava, and get his association. So I'll stop there.